I wanted to go over your role as the project manager, the ORPM, and just cover some details about that position. One area I wanted to cover is lead the design. Well, design actually begins with the sales associates. They go through and qualify the investor, and they select the home. They also select the lot that the investor is going to be on, and then we have conceptual pictures that they'll gather, and then they'll send it off to the ORPM, and then from there you begin working with the architect after you've priced the materials that are actually going into the home. And if we need to make changes based on what the investor qualifies for, then at that point we do that. We are also simplifying the process because we do have several models, and within those models we have a few floor plans. So once that task is complete, then the bulk of the work is going to be done unless we get a great deal of custom homes. And our focus is really to focus on just selling the equity partnership home to our investors. And for 2018, not really focus so much on developing the traditional home, but rather the equity partnership home. That's really the focus. Now, the other area is your income. So, in case you wanted to know, for some people they want to know, okay, well, when can I expect to get a first paycheck? Well, that first paycheck does come at closing. So we have a 30-day construction, we have a 30-day period where we're doing due diligence on the project, the lot, and then the bank comes through with approval. And so we're looking at maybe 40 days or so before you'll actually see a paycheck. The two types of homes that we're selling is the KP. You've got $500,000 there, and depending on how many projects you're managing, if you're starting off by phasing yourself in because you have an existing job, then you can take on a smaller amount of jobs, and then you'll earn revenue based off of that. And here it shows, with 4 projects, you can see $60,000, but with 8 projects, monthly, you'll see $120,000 annually north of that, because that's the minimum that our homes are selling for. And of course, you've got some $1 million homes in there, or much more expensive homes, so that's going to raise the revenue. Okay, so target market and on-site construction. So the average build is 6 weeks in a factory, and for a mill log home it's 2 weeks. And when it comes to site, we're looking at a week to get a mill log home put together, and about a week or so for the factory home to be put together, or less. So really less than that on these factory modulars. Now, one of the things that we're looking at is just simply finishing the interior and the exterior. So whether we're doing whatever the design is, so we've got 35. We figure under 30 days is what we're shooting for on development, which is very realistic for interior exterior finishes, and on the larger models 55 days, because the log homes, when they come out, they take 6 days. The modular homes, they take even less time. And but that's really going to come down to your contractor. So you're going to put numbers in here that are going to be based on subcontractor schedule. once you've hired a good contractor, and they're finding subs that hopefully their subs can stay within this timeline. But that's, so this is our target. If it's not, but it's going to come down to availability, and so we just have to know that, this is definitely doable. We want to be able to start reaching out, if needed, reach out to subs that are reliable, that can get the job done within a faster period of time, and bring them in. But we are focused on getting the quality product. And okay, so we're focused on this KP log home and log 20, but if you're in the front range, then these may not apply. So we go through and we select two other models that would apply. These two, we're doing more, the front range is more of like a modern design, from Castle Rock on through Boulder. You're going to see, log homes are no problems, and the $1 million log homes, no problem. You can have log homes in very expensive neighborhoods. It's because there are those neighborhoods throughout the front range. So you're just making sure that that home is going to fit the neighborhood, and the sales associate or the sales representative is, you're going to be looking at, when they select a home, they're going to go through and do initial research based on the county and the neighborhood, and looking at the block and seeing that it is permitted within that PUD, or before they actually assign it. So they're going to save a little bit of time on the research there as well, and because that's part of their due diligence process and policy. So basically what this is, outline draft. Okay, so basically ORPM will outline drafts and document a formal set of policies, procedures, process, and practices that will be the basis for how the development projects are handled at all phases, beginning with estimating and conceptual analysis through delivery of an operational asset. So said PPPs will be documented in writing, and the ORPM will be expected to follow his or her items. So what this basically is saying is, I'd like you to be, it's important to be organized. So just, generate a system that works for you and that you can follow, so that way you can stay on track, and everything goes much more smoother when you have a plan in place and you have systems in place. So this is really being designed to help, to help you be successful, and us. And everyone who's in this business, well, we know that it's very important to stay organized, because there's so many parts. And so we do have things like Smartsheet that we utilize to be able to do that, and just keeping track and the workflow for our personal, so that we can all reference that as well. Because we'll be using a shared sheet, we can use a shared sheet, but that is one of the ways. That's really what that's about. Just right, business administration. So we're focused on contracts. Procurement, filing insurance certificates for vendors, drafting, editing, and filing contracts. There's software that we utilize for this, and being in the business, I'm sure you have software. But if you need access to software that does that, then I can certainly help you with that. Okay, so in this part of the project, individual interface, communicating with, you're communicating with us. Most of the communication that's done with the investors and shareholders of this project is going to be done through the account representatives. And so you're communicating with them, but, from time to time there might be communication with the shareholder directly. So that is just something to bear in mind. Okay, so this is the part that I want to cover, decision making and negotiation. So you have a lot of flexibility on this job because you've got years of experience and you're all good and you're talented people. The individual interprets an extensive variety of technical data in written, mathematical, or diagrammatic form and deals with abstract and or concrete variables. So define problems, collect data, establish facts, and draws preliminary conclusions. So that, everyone does that as a project manager. And with final decision, having input and consent of the managing director. So what that basically is saying, use good judgment in what you do. Final input, final decision, well, that's not something that that you need from me, but having input from the managing director, well, that would be important. This is not a project where you're being micromanaged on or in your decisions. It's just saying, if you have questions on things, use your experience, apply your experience because you're all good decision makers. So do that to just really simplify it. As successful people, just make good, successful decisions, and you don't have to run everything, by the managing director. Something that you may not be clear on, please feel free to give us a call. Let's see, so experience. Alright, so that's good. That pretty much covers everything. If you have, pretty much covers it. Appreciate it. Thank you.